Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to read Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house in the woods. Little Bear, Middle Bear, and Big Bear. And every morning they ate porridge for breakfast. Little Bear had a little bowl, Middle Bear had a middle-sized bowl, and Big Bear had a big bowl. They each had chairs to sit in too. Little Bear had a little chair, Middle Bear had a middle-sized chair, and Big Bear had a big chair. At night they slept in their own beds. Little Bear had a little bed, Middle Bear had a middle-sized bed, and of course, Big Bear had a big bed. One morning, the three bears made their porridge for breakfast, poured it into their bowls, and went out for a walk to give it time to cool. While they were out, a little girl called Goldilocks came upon the bear's house. First she looked through the window, then she looked through the keyhole. Seeing no one was inside, she lifted the latch. The door was not locked. Because the three bears were good bears who did not do any harm, they never thought anyone might harm them. Goldilocks opened the door and went in. She was so hungry. She was so pleased to see the porridge on the table. If she had been a good little girl, she would have waited for the bears to come home. And since they were kind bears, they might have invited her to breakfast, but she was too greedy to wait. First she tasted Big Bear's porridge. Oh, she said, this porridge is too hot. Next she tasted Middle Bear's porridge. Oh, she said, this porridge is too cold. Then she tasted Little Bear's porridge. Good, she said, this porridge is just right, and she ate it all up. Then Goldilocks sat herself down on Big Bear's chair. Oh, she said, this chair is too hard. Next she sat down on Middle Bear's chair. Oh, she said, this chair is too soft. Then she sat down on Little Bear's chair. Good, she said, this chair is just right. But she must have been too heavy for the chair, because it fell apart and Goldilocks landed plop on the floor. After that, Goldilocks went up to the three bears' bedroom. First she lay down on Big Bear's bed. Oh, she said, this bed is too hard. Next she lay down on Middle Bear's bed. Oh, she said, this bed is too soft. Then she lay down on Little Bear's bed. Good, she said, this bed is just right. And she settled down and fell fast asleep. Meanwhile, the three bears had decided that their porridge would be cool by now, so they returned home for breakfast. But Goldilocks had left a Big Bear spoon standing in his porridge. Someone's been tasting my porridge, said the Big Bear in his big voice. Then the Middle Bear saw her spoon standing in her porridge too. Somebody's been tasting my porridge too, said the Middle Bear in her middle-sized voice. And Little Bear saw his spoon lying in his empty bowl. Somebody's been tasting my porridge and has eaten it all up, said Little Bear in his little voice. Now they knew someone had been there eating Little Bear's breakfast. Then the three bears began looking around the house. Goldilocks had not put on the cushion back on Big Bear's chair quite straight. Somebody's been sitting on my chair, said Big Bear in his big voice. And Goldilocks had flattened the soft cushion in Middle Bear's chair. Somebody's been sitting in my chair too, said Middle Bear in her middle-sized voice. And you already know what Goldilocks had done to the third chair. Somebody's been sitting in my chair and has broken it, said Little Bear in his little voice. Then the three bears went up to their bedroom where Goldilocks had not put Big Bear's pillow back on the right place. Somebody's been lying in my bed, said Big Bear in his big voice. And Goldilocks had not put the Middle Bear's pillow back quite right either. Somebody's been lying on my bed too, said the Middle Bear in her middle-sized voice. When Little Bear looked at his bed, his pillow was in the right place, but in the bed lay little Goldilocks, who had no business there and who was not in the right place at all. Somebody's been lying in my bed, and here she is, said the little bear in his little voice. Goldilocks heard Big Bear's voice in her sleep, but it seemed like a roar of the wind or the rumble of thunder. And she heard Middle Bear's voice in her sleep, but it was only like hearing someone in a dream. But Little Bear's voice was so shrill that it woke her at once, and she sat bolt up and saw the three bears standing by the bed. She tumbled out and ran to the window. Luckily, the window wasn't closed because the bears always opened it in the morning to air the room. So Goldilocks jumped out and ran away into the woods, and the three bears never saw her again. The end. Well, I hope you liked Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and I know we're going to read another version so we can compare and contrast this week and work on those skills. Bye, everybody. Take care.